New questions today involving Hillary Clinton's emails. The FBI has released another set of documents related to the investigation into Clinton's email practices during her time as Secretary of State. The documents contain allegations of quid pro quo between a senior State Department official and the agency. The deal would go like this. In return for altering the classification of at least one email, the possibility of additional foreign opportunities for FBI agents was discussed. When pressed about these allegations on Fox News Sunday, Clinton's running mate, Tim Kaine, denied any involvement by Clinton or her campaign, although he did concede the accusations warrant a second look.
Absolutely not. I have no knowledge that that happened. Absolutely not. So you do see classification of information change for very legitimate reasons. So that would be something that you'd definitely have to look at.
The Bureau does not dispute there was a discussion about classification and FBI placements overseas, but it claims the two issues were not connected, saying in a statement, quote, the classification of the email was not changed and it remains classified today, although there was never a quid pro quo. These allegations were nonetheless referred to the appropriate officials for the review, end quote. All right, Chris, so for people who are just kind of looking up at their TV going, huh? What is the big talk from all of that? What's the headline?
So the headline here is I almost want to say, and I will say, desperate desire that you see on behalf of one of Hillary Clinton's closest advisors and insiders at the State Department to get the classification on this email changed because they knew that what she had said was not true. That when she said, I never received or sent any classified, it's like, nah, bro, that's not true. And so they're trying to get it fixed.
So if you help me change what the email was marked, then you'll get a cushy job in some foreign country.
Well,
am I oversimplifying it?
No, it creates more room for the FBI agents who are already overseas, so they get nicer offices.
So the FBI wants slots. Everybody wants a slot at U.S. embassies overseas.
We do?
The State Department. Well, sure, if it was a good enough gig, like if it was like to Barbados and like cultural attaché, like I'm in.
With you.
Right, but the reality is that the CIA, the FBI, all of these law enforcement, national security, and other aid, I suppose the National Oceanographic Administration does too. Everybody'd like an office or room overseas because that's where those are our offices. So this is the State Department saying, oh, first thing, how about reclassifying this email so it doesn't embarrass my boss? Number two, you know what I was just thinking about? You guys need more slots at the State Department, don't you? So I don't know that you can make the case, but I don't know you could make a legal case, but certainly there's a little dangling going on here.
But the big thing that Catherine Herridge uncovered, and she's been bringing to us every hour, is this idea that the FBI agent himself, who was on the phone, described it as a quid pro quo conversation. He says that it was this Undersecretary of State, Patrick Kennedy, who made it very clear that it was, in fact, and he used the words, the FBI agent, quid pro quo phone call. That's what it was. So when they go out and say, oh, just because they were in the same conversation, they weren't necessarily connected. Well, the guy on the other end of the phone said this was a straight up, you give me this, I give you this.
Okay,
he didn't want to end up
if we look kind of from 37,000 feet, Kennedy, what we're seeing here is a situation that would indicate how Mrs. Clinton would be if she were in the White House?
I mean
what is in it for the people who are watching the story?
But that's how they subtly operate. You know, it's just enough to not get caught. And you have people who are just far enough removed from Secretary Clinton herself that it's very easy to sway eyeballs away from what appears to be a very guilty interaction. But my question for Chris is, so if they change the classification on a single email, does that mean does that sort of set a precedent so you could change classification for a bunch of other emails that are very similarly classified? Because therefore, you know, she had so many thousands of emails that were already marked.
They change classifications on emails all the time. That's a thing that happens. Oh, this was classified this way. It really should have been this way. It's not really top secret. It's blah, 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 blah. You know, there is a whole... You would be appalled to see how many human beings are involved in the clerical paperwork aspect. You know, when they meet a lady. I would be
appalled. We have so much digital. Why is the government so slow in pushing paper?
And I'm sure when they meet ladies in bars, they say that they're secret agent men. But what are they really doing? Is they're like, well, we're going to mark that C down to an I, and then we're going to move it over.
By the way, Mrs. Clinton has no idea what that C stands for.
All right, so Congressman Jason Chaffetz, who's been briefed on these FBI interviews. interviews. To quote him exactly, this is a flashing red light of potential criminality. Obviously, we're not going to be able to deal with that aspect today, but we are going to be able to look at the political impact today. How does this affect Hillary Clinton? We can talk about this all day long, but does it have any impact 3 weeks out from Election Day?
Kennedy said it best. This is, again, reconfirming for the quadrillionth time, and it's also in the stuff that WikiLeaks says that her familiars sent during the run-up to this election, which is it's as close as you can get without going over the line. It's always rubbing it. Well,